Welcome to the Purpose Chasers podcast, where those who refuse to let odds or naysayers stand in their way come to chase and catch their true calling. I'm your host, Mark Crandall. In each episode, we shine a spotlight on artists and musicians who dare to dream bigger. You'll hear the real-world tactical moves these Purpose Chasers have taken to carve out their legacies, and I'll break down the marketing strategies you can swipe and implement today. Let's dive in and start chasing our purpose. Don't forget to leave a follow on Spotify or wherever you stream from. Let's dive into this episode. Purpose Chasers, welcome back to this episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. You heard him before. Now you're going to hear him a lot more. Nat Bruno was on, I don't even remember what episode, a few episodes
100.
back, maybe. Yeah, 100. That is right. It's 100. It's been one of those 3-week stretches. You're on episode 100, in which we talked about my entrepreneurial journey. Now we are going to have a conversation about Nathaniel's entrepreneurial journey, which is a really cool one, because he actually branched off. If you're watching any of the videos, clips, he has his community solar, the Community Solar Authority shirt on. He's actually officially with a polo, which was like a spring off of a partnership that I dragged you into. So I say dragged. I do mean dragged, because he wasn't interested at first. And yeah, Nat, welcome to the podcast, man. I'd love to, because I don't know. I mean, I know the community solar model. I know it was pitched to me in the beginning of our solar lead machine, which, for those of you listening who don't know, Nat and I we're partnered in a marketing company providing lead generation services for solar. I feel like we both got burned out at the same time, just because the model, like I call it the prostitution model, right? And like all the best hookers are on the same red light district, and they're all just undercutting each other's prices and talking about how they do it better. Right. And it just turned into this like turnover and like this churn. I exited quick and got paid peanuts. Nat stayed in for the buyout. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about that on the show, but let's get right into it, Nat. Welcome back. I'm excited for this one. I have been fired up to do this.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, walk me through. Can you give me a nod? I mean, for the listeners, it's okay if you say no. Are you allowed to talk about the exit of Solar Lead Machine and what came about with the Community Solar Authority?
I mean, I don't have a very hard NDA, but I'm not going to be talking numbers per se. Perfect.
Cool. I'm modeling my mentor, Andrew Warner, in these episodes from here on out. So I'm going for it. Okay. So what did it, I want to talk about the exit and then get to the merging, because they were all one, correct? So Solar Lead Machine was partnered in the Community Solar Authority. And then were you the only one of the 3 partners that were remaining in Solar Lead Machine that stayed in Community Solar, which was partnered with a couple outside people? Is that correct?
Yep. So we basically had a marketing agency, which was Solar Lead Machine. And it was myself and 2 other partners. And we all had our division of responsibilities. One was sales, another was advertising and media buying, and then I was doing the operations and handling the call center. At one point, I don't honestly know
Can I give a note on that really quick?
Yeah.
So for those of you listening, Nat had pretty much systematized his role. And so can we talk about that? Are we allowed to, or no?
I don't know where you're going with this, but let's just roll with it.
Okay. So basically, did you not hire VAs that were fulfilling your role?
Um,
Majority of
some
it?
I would say a lot of it. There was also, I mean, a lot of stuff where I had to make executive decisions that were pretty high level. So I wouldn't say I was
Brilliant.
completely out of it.
Brilliant. So I ripped the e-brake and said, pay me what you will. I'm out. And Nathaniel stayed in. And then we went through like I don't know, it was a period of time where we didn't talk, but you and I did touch base on a phone call about a year afterwards, but not because it wasn't because there was any hard feelings between you and I think we both just got really, really busy. So community solar, I don't want to dive into that anymore because I feel like there's potentially some resentment that may crop back up on my end and or yours. I want to get into the model of community solar because it is a really interesting model. It's something that we have discussed, but it's also something that's like really unattractive in my eyes, as it's like a subscription model and it's a grind to get off the ground. So can you share with the audience like what the community solar model is, and then just walk right into what you have built and what you're building?
Yep. So community solar is basically democratizing and allowing anybody access to solar energy so they can acquire their electricity through solar panels without ever installing solar panels on their roof, on their business, on any of their property. And it also gives access to solar energy to, for example, renters. So you don't even have to own your home. Because right now, I mean, majority of the people that are putting solar panels on their roofs own their home and are not renters. So basically, the setup is a community solar developer goes out and builds a solar array in the country somewhere. And then they are obligated to go sell that electricity to renters, to businesses, to homeowners. And that is where we fit in. We're basically a sales organization, and we sell any of those people, but we focus our niche on commercial businesses. We focus only on that, and we basically sell that end user the community solar electricity, and the end user receives 10%, sometimes 15% of their electricity bill back every month as a discount.
So it's a really, really cool model in which the sky is the limit until the capacity has been reached for solar produced, in which time which I want to get into. I'm going to table it. I actually just took a note to go there, which is how you're getting what the process is for building. Have you guys gotten into the development phase of it, which is something we've had deep talks about, which is, my partner Elijah has experience building, massive commercial builds, which are restricted in New Hampshire, but it is election day, and I believe the block for that is going to be removed from office. So we might be in business. So the first thought that I had was like, so you're approaching commercial businesses, but I'm thinking of like big sky rises. Like there's a couple big places in Manchester in which the proposition to the building owner, my mind immediately goes to getting a meeting, setting a meeting with the building owner who owns all of those apartments or condos, and stating, we'd like to build a solar array on your property. And if you don't allow us to, we're going to sell solar to every resident that you have. So we're going to make money off of your renters, whether you're with us or you're without us. right? So I'm like being very hard nosed. Obviously, there would be some more strategy behind that because you'd want to get them into it. Have you done any of that, or are you just going straight to these commercial business? So you're going to the commercial business owners, and then are you allowing them to sell the like resell the solar back to their tenants, or are you working with the tenants directly? Like, how is that working?
Typically it's going right back. It's going to sell or enrolling the tenants individually, because unless the whole building is under one utility bill, you have to go to each individual one. So
have you done any of those plays that I just mentioned? Like going to the building owner and essentially asking them if they'd be interested in building solar on top of their property or around their property?
yeah, I mean, we've got a couple in the works as we speak, but we haven't closed anything on a big scale like that where we're actually building. There's a lot of factors that come into play in that regard, and the biggest one is the roof age and the roof quality. So
Totally. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. That's before we started this interview. I was telling Nathaniel that the stats are around 35% of the homeowners that we are, selling solar to are upgrading their roof, because unlike some of the solar installers that are popping in and out of New Hampshire, these, Walmart solar companies, they'll put solar on anything. We will not. If your roof is destined to expire before your solar system, we're going to recommend that you replace your roofing system. It just doesn't make any sense, because it's going to cost you double the money to remove that system later. And then you're going to deal with a whole lot of other issues where, like, we've had 2 inquiries this week of from homeowners wanting us to remove their solar system or install a solar system that was installed previously. And we stated, no, we won't do it. We'll install our systems because we know the quality of install, we know the quality of material, and it will be backed by, all the manufacturer warranties that we have. And we have an electrical license on the line. So there is that. Can you talk revenue with the Community Solar Authority? Where were you at? Go ahead. I want to know where I guess my leading question is going to be, where were you at revenue wise when you made the determination to exit Solar Lead Machine and go all in? Or I don't even know if you're all in. I don't even know what other games you're playing out here in this field. You're just all in. Yeah. So what was Community Solar at revenue wise when you made the decision to exit Solar Lead Machine?
So they were both merged into one company. But if you were to try to separate it out, I'm talking general terms. Before, when we had the marketing agency and Community Solar Authority, we were under $1 million a year. Going forward, we're already tracking above $1 million a year.
Separate.
And we've only been
separate.
Exactly. And we've only been in business truly. The separation occurred in like April, May. I think that's when the documents were signed. So yeah, we're doing well.
Yeah, it ain't bad. All right. Now I want to get into this, and for those of you listening, I'm going to ask all the questions that I want to know. There's a good chance we're going to become Nathaniel's competition. He knew that coming into this call. He knows how my brain works, or there's a collaboration potentially also. So meaning the company building these solar arrays that are generating the power, or are you, because I know there's a few different models. You lease the property, you build it, and then you work the net metering back to. I get the model. I just want to know, like, how far up the chain you all have climbed. Are you building the arrays? Are you leasing the actual solar arrays? Are you leasing the land and funding the builds? Do you have some big pockets behind you that are funding what you're doing? Or are you doing what I'm imagining you're doing, which is bootstrapping everything to get up the chain?
You got me. We are bootstrapping.
I learned from you, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going down that road initially of finding properties, dealing and connecting with people developer that would build and install the solar array. However, it's one more thing that took us away from our focus, which was commercial. And as a result, like I said, let's table the land stuff. Let's table focusing on actual development and focus on just simply selling properties on community solar.
So how are you finding the solar built then? Do you have where is the actual solar power coming from that you are selling back to homeowners? Do you own it? Are you leasing it?
Yep. So the solar power is coming from community solar developers. They have already built arrays out there, and then they need it filled. They need the capacity sold, and we are that organization that sells it. There aren't that many opportunities I'm finding. There's not that many sales organizations that do what we are doing, and basically we're creating what's called a wait list. So let's say there's so much demand for community solar that when an array comes online, that already it's immediately filled. The capacity just disappears right off the board. So you have to be either very quick in selling it, or what we're doing, which is a wait list. We basically pre-enroll everybody and get them lined up. And when a solar array comes online, they just immediately get popped right into it. Because I mean, legislation, Rhode Island just passed legislation that said they're going to be 100% renewable sources of electricity by 2030, which is incredibly, I don't know. I feel like that's outlandish in my opinion. It's 7 years away, but it is what it is.
It's not with the legislation that's being passed across the country. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, I don't want to get political because you and I will go down a rabbit hole and probably never come back. But I mean, it's, solar used to be like the business model of people that were like green energy. And now it is the business model of, you can make hundreds of millions and or billions of dollars in the solar industry. And now everyone and their mother is selling solar or doing solar. And there's so many different, scattered models of it, which separates us from most, as like I've talked to you about, like, when we first started installing in solar, we were using an EPC, and it was very quick to see that EPCs were not going to work for us. Meaning, we have a company that's been established for 40 years in New Hampshire, and the quality of work that we provide homeowners is hands down, like, it's people over profit. Like, if we did something wrong, we will be back at your house within 24 hours. And so the typical electrician who's throwing nuts and wire scraps and doing the stuff that they're doing on home. And so then we, took the action to acquire an electrical company. And now we have our own electrical company within, I think, since the last time I talked to you. We own an electrical company. I don't even know if I told you this. I think we were going into it. We own an electrical company. Yeah. And we have 2 master electricians and a bunch of roofers that are apprentices. And we're doing, the goal going into next year is to be the number one solar installer in the state, not like in our company, because we're already knocking on doors with that, but like as the EPC, like, yeah, totally, we will install solar for you. So it's a couple different plays, but the quality control issue is what would come in. It sounds like you've developed really, really good partners, and my mind is going more towards the how do we get the build, how do we fill our own grid, right? So I'm teetering more towards the, and this is why, like when you said commercial and that's what you're targeting, it's like that is, I'll just shoot you straight. Like my partners and I are doing really, really well. We got to burn some cash before the end of the year, and we want to put it into investments. And I don't believe there's a greater investment than solar arrays, especially with the legislation that's getting passed. And so now we're in this place of, do we purchase a commercial property or two before year end? And can we get a commercial array built before year end? Or do we build the properties, hold off on the array? Then I start to think about like what you're talking about is like, all right, so if we're going to build, if we're going to build on a, like, let's say a storage facility, and we're just going to, fill it, fill the roof with solar, like where is all that power going? Because it's great. Like there's, and for those of you who are listening, like, of the, the increase, or maybe you don't know of the increase. So if you're in New Hampshire, holla at me. We'll talk about the tax benefits from going solar, but because it's 30%, and then there's a whole heap of other things. Like you can get $8,000 kickback if you install mini splits. There's you can get your boiler replaced, you can get your roof replaced. That can all get rolled up into probably a cheaper monthly payment than your current electric bill. I say probably because it's not always the case, so I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But the tax benefits for commercial solar is like when you get into like the behind the curtain, the suits are sitting there and they're doing things in New England, a lot inside of Maine, where they're actually finding these builds. And I'm curious on what your experience is. So they're finding these huge, builds. And then they're big dollar players are buying those bills and then selling the tax credits off. You seen any of that game played and what you're in?
We have not been in the buying of builds and selling off the tax credits. I'm not that deep into the understanding of tax credits and all that stuff, honestly.
You know what? Let's line up another call. I'd like to get you on a call with my partner Elijah, because it's time for me to get another debriefing on this, because he whiteboarded this out last March for me, and I was like, dude, that's what we need to play in. But we didn't even have a solar install at that point. But now we have a lot of solar installs, which I showed you before we jumped on the call. So now I want to start looking at the commercial side, because it's huge. It's big. We had a buddy here, Gary, who just did a ground mount build, and he actually made money. So he wrote a grant. The grant covered his ground mount build, which was way in excess of anything he needed. So he's net metering energy back. So he's making money off of the build every month. On top of, he got the build paid for, on top of he made money on the back end of it being built. Plus, he gets the depreciating credit, the tax credits for the build. Oh yeah, dude. There's a whole lot of games to be played. Oh yeah, dude. That's why I'll line up a call with Elijah, and we'll jump on and nerd out about it. So one thing that you talked about, which I want to get into, you shared on it. Actually, you put your hand up and you said zero, which is something that you and I have struggled with in the past, which is focusing our attention on one thing. I'm still struggling with it. I have one company, basically one company that I own and that I'm doing anything in. I have another company that I'm an owner in that I'm not currently doing anything with. And then I have the other venture, which is the consulting. And the consulting and all the consulting stuff that I'm doing, the coaching within that, the working with businesses, I absolutely love. It fires me up. And then everything that I'm doing with Energy Shield, including the electrical company, like fires me up. And both of those things have me at max capacity. And I'm reading that now. What led you to only working on this venture? And I just want this for the audience to hear, because I know based off my experience and consulting a lot of others that as an entrepreneur, there's always a new shiny thing and a new path to go down. So what led you to this decision to go all in on just working on the Community Solar Authority?
I had to be taught this lesson by the universe, Mark, multiple times until I finally listened.
You may again, though. You may again.
Yeah, I very well may again. But I would say that I'm pretty hard-headed. And so way back in the day, 2007, I started college hunks hauling junk in Denver, Colorado, and I bought the third franchise there and grounded out for years, just like trying to make ends meet. And I was barely successful. Got a business coach, and he said, hey, you got to systemize, you got to hire and train your replacement. I did all those things. And I went to Europe for a whole month at the end of doing all those tasks that he recommended. And I get back and like everything's good in the business. And at the same time, I had a bunch of friends that said, hey, what do you do to your business? I want to do the same thing. So next thing you know, I started saying yes. I took on all these consulting clients. So I had a consulting business. I had a junk hauling business in Denver. And one of those clients, the opportunity was so big, it was cell phone signal boosting services. I started a company with my good friend and consulting client, and next thing you know, I have 3 businesses: hauling, cell phone signal boosting, and consulting. And that quickly led to burnout. And I sold everything, took off on the road, and ended up living in a van for 3 odd years, traveling throughout the US and Canada, just enjoying life. And then very recently, I'm with Solar Lead Machine. Next thing you know, we brought on another business. So we had 2 business lines that we were selling and running a marketing agency. So it was, again, 3 businesses all in one. And this past January, I said, enough. We need to focus on one. That was Community Solar Authority. I saw the writing on the wall, and my other business partner said, we want to keep going with the old model. So we split up, and now I am all in on this one business. And for the past 6 months since I've done that, I have been clear in my focus, but also clear in a lot of other things within my life. I've become a lot more intentional. I also think maybe turning 40 was a big milestone, but I've been a lot more intentional in everything I do in my life and in business. So that's how I got to that one thing.
Yeah. How many partners do you have in Community Solar Authority?
2 others. So there's 3 of us total.
And that relationship's good?
Very good. Yep.
Yeah, I think, and like hearing you say that and knowing your journey and knowing, my own journey, and I was actually on a consulting call earlier this morning, and I was sharing this with this individual that hired me, and I was sharing, like, the dangerous part of partnerships is that if the terms of engagement are not clearly outlined and defined, and the roles are not equal, huge resentments are going to follow. He's like, well, I did the math on it. He's like, I did the math on it, and it's like, it's like maybe 10 hours a month I'm going to spend, on doing the work. And I was like, dude, it's not the 10 hours a month that you're going to do on doing the work, because I know from knowing you, you really enjoy doing the work. That's not the problem. The problem is going to be the 400 fucking phone calls that they want to get on each month to talk about nothing. Like, that's the problem. If it's actually everybody's defined in their lane, stays in their lane, and moves it forward, you're going to have growth. And that's, maybe I'm having an awakening on this call. And because I was talking with him about, like, how Elijah, Josh, and myself are such amazing partners. And I haven't found it yet, right? Like, and you've been partnered with me on a few different ventures now. It's like I hadn't found it yet. It's like I stay behind the computer. I work on marketing strategies and ideas that break the internet. Like, I did it in New Hampshire with solar, like, broken. You know what I mean? It's amazing. And then I also am a visionary, so I like to look at the company and see what fires are about, like what hazards could be cropping up or what issues we're having. And so then I tell Elijah, I need you to go fix this, 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 and this. And here are my ideas on how. And he goes and he sets this meeting with this employee and does this and does this and does this. And then, you have Josh, who's like, built out our metal crew, so they're self-sufficient. Now he's on solar. Now he has his apprentice card. He is installing solar faster than some of probably the most skilled master electricians out there installing solar now, 2 months in. And like, he's training the crew and he's gearing up to jump in and train the next crew. But like, he'll work 100 hours a week. You know what I mean? Not ideal long-term, to have him doing that, but like, we've already built the systems. We already know how to get him out to get him in the next place. And I think I don't think any of us have ever questioned, like, is, X carrying the load, and then also being able to have, I'm thinking about it now, like Josh, Elijah, and I, like, can speak very clear to each other without people getting like, it's like, like, I called Elijah out yesterday. I'm like, dude, you said you were gonna bing, bang, boom. You didn't. Like, what's up? Like, when's this happening? And like, he'll say the same thing to me. Although he doesn't have to say it often, because I'm like anally organized, but there's a lot of dynamics that go into a healthy partnership in which you can get to the place that you're at now, which I want to talk about this a little bit. So in that 3-month period of you living in a van, traveling the country, we met. And I'll forever be grateful. I'll be telling my kids about Nathaniel once they're old enough to take over whatever the hell I'm into at that time, right? Who knows what I'm going to be into? I'm excited as I think about it. But I met you, and I remember we were talking out by the pool one day. It was when you were getting ready to run again, and you were getting ready to jump the van and take off. We were talking by the pool one day, and I was like, dude, what do you want in life? And like, you just started talking about like how you wanted to build you wanted this land so that you could build this community and you could live off the land, and you wanted a farm and you wanted to grow your own food. And like, dude, you've done it. Like, you're there. And it's so cool to see, like, you and Carly post, on the internet, the interweb, as you say, like your harvest and like, all the things that you're building out there. So do you think that plays into, because I'm thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And like, I can't stop thinking about it, because I think somebody really needs to do a breakdown for the entrepreneur. Maybe it's me. of the hierarchy of needs. And like, I feel like once you hit the place of you've acquired the land, you now have the property, you and Carly purchased this property and you're starting to build it. And now you have the harvest and you have the animals, you hit self-actualization, which is like the highest phase of the hierarchy, right? Like it's the top. It's self-actualization. And Maslow, you know, states in a lot of his work that like once you get to self-actualization and you truly arrive, like you start to eliminate all the other things that you were doing to try to feed your like basic needs, to try to feed your relationship needs. It's like, no, like I have filled all of these cups and I don't want to fill any more cups because I'm up here. What do you think that played a huge role? I'm talking a lot. I want to get your thoughts and insights, but I wanted to share that, knowing you and knowing your journey of entrepreneurship and climbing steps to get to where you are, which you shared with me by the pool is where you wanted to be, and now you're there.
I would say that I mean, even when I am, and I mean, you may see myself as being there. I don't feel like that yet. We've got the property, we've got the animals, we've got the food figured out, all that. Very self-sustaining. However, we don't have my ideal is a multi-generational community. We have our parents living with us. We have our friends very close by, the people that we know and love. Right now, we're in like a 60 home community. Everybody's got 5 or 10 acres, but we haven't spent that much time really diving deep into everybody else's lives and bringing them into ours. We've only been here about a year and a half, but my desire is to, one, make a much better effort to bring in our friends from outside of Wimberley, Texas, but also to make more inroads within our little community. But I think even when I do get there, I think there's always going to be that entrepreneur in me that's always looking for what's next. You know, what can I do better? How can I be better? So that I don't think I'm ever truly going to feel settled, if you will, and content and self-actualize, as you said.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a funny game we play. I'm just thinking about the first financial goals I had in business. I remember it was like when I had 25,000 in my business account, like then I'd arrived, and then I was like then 50, and then 100, then it was $250,000, and it just never stops. And it's just like, but I don't even care about I'm so frugal with what I do that like I don't even like that doesn't even excite me anymore. And now it's like building, or when we hit, the goal this year was 5 million, and then we surpassed it. And I'm like, well, let's do 8. And then next year I'm like, well, let's do 15. And like, I don't even, I don't know. I enjoy the game that I'm playing, and I know that I'm going for a sale right now just to go through the process of an exit. And then I don't know what will be there on the other side. But that leads me to this question. Are you thinking about sale in this business, or what is your long-term play with the Community Solar Authority?
Yeah, I mean, our written goal is to sell it, because I mean, you said it at the very start of the call. One day there will be capacity, like America will be at full capacity solar wise. And the way our business is currently set up, there really isn't that much opportunity once all that solar capacity is sold. Like, will we cease to exist? I don't know. So hopefully before that time, we see the writing on the wall, we sell the business. So yes, I have always desired and wanted to go through, very much like you just said, go through that sale and experience what it feels like and the ups and downs of that.
Yeah. I'm a part of a mastermind community, which I'm now coaching and consulting in. And like, seeing all these people, like I immediately created a second course, right? Is like seeing all these individuals leaving 9 to 5 positions and putting, potentially their life savings, on the line to purchase an actual company because they want to be entrepreneurs that bad. Right. And then the second course that came to mind is like, all right, well, we need to have another offering for them to show them how to scale themselves out of that company once they acquire it so that they can do it again, and or free up their time so that they get buried in it. I see it from time to time. I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe I'm sure Google and Siri are going to listen to me when I say this, so I'll probably get served with it after I get off this interview with you. But like, I quit my 9 to 5 to be a business owner, and then I started working 24 hours a day. Right? Like it's just, it's a funny game. We say, like Elon Musk says, is like entrepreneurship's like chewing glass and staring into the abyss. You have to be. There's a degree of crazy um, that's involved to be an entrepreneur, because most people. That's why most companies don't make it. Like I've had 3 brutal weeks. Fired multiple people, multiple fires in the company. I had to jump back in the weeds, fix this and fix that, and like get the accountability structure back in place. And it's like, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
I agree. I always like the metaphor of entrepreneurship is like setting your hair on fire and then putting it out with a hammer.
Yeah. It's good. It's a really good analogy too. I love it. I'm a little bit crazy. They could probably have a whole, like psych facility dedicated to entrepreneurs. Nat Bruno, I love you, man. Yeah, I love you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have you in my life. I'm excited to watch you and watch you build. And like, it's kind of crazy that I think about it. It's like we both exited nearing the same time. Like maybe you stayed in a year longer than I did, or a year and a half, or however long it was. We both saw the writing on the wall, saw the opportunity, and sent it. And I left right around the time that I was about to get my first piece of ownership in Energy Shield. And I think I've been doing a lot of reflecting. Maybe I'll get your thoughts on this before we wrap, because I was doing a lot of coaching when I started, because it was like the easy transition, from practicing therapy to being a coach. It was just the easy play. And my experience with it, my own personal experience, I'm not telling you how to live your life or how to feel if you're listening, and you are coaching. But I felt like once I got a taste of, even with, Solar Lead Machine, I didn't feel like it was a real business. I always felt like at any time, because we went through COVID. Remember with COVID, we lost like 30 clients in a matter of a week and a half. States locked down, everybody quit. And like, it's just like, oh, we don't have a company. And so when I got my first opportunity to gain ownership in Energy Shield, I'm like, this is a real product or service that could carry on in any weather, no matter what. And I just went all in on it. And then I realized that, like, in coaching and being an author and speaker and like all the things that I was doing, it was all focused on me. I could never see a path to scale out of it. There are paths. I know there are people that do semi-scale out of it. It's never passive, because that's just such a loaded term. But then I realized, like, in like going all in Energy Shield and being nearly an equal partner to Josh, that like I just wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so now I'm so passionate about, the mastermind that I'm a part of, that these people are guided on just taking ownership in companies and like buying companies to be an entrepreneur. Do you think like any of your journey, that was a big piece of it? Like with the consulting side of it and the other things that you were dabbling in, was like once you get a taste of like a real product or service that would weather the storm, you just went all in?
Yeah, I mean, consulting, being your own brand, it's a grind. 100%. I totally agree with you. I think once I got a taste of a company that had, when I was on the road, I had a very specific framework of what I was looking for in my next venture, something that had unlimited income potential, like huge sales. There was always a limitation, if you will, on how much I can make when I had a junk hauling company. So unlimited income potential. I wanted to be able to work from anywhere. That was the other big one. And the ability for me to hire and train my replacement, get out of the business. I didn't want to be the sole and only one. And consulting, being the brand, being the face of a company, I mean, you're never going to be able to get out, especially if you are Mark Crandall, the coach. You know, people want you and only you. They don't want your replacement. So I totally agree. Getting out of consulting and getting in with a real company that had that ability for me to remove myself and hire and train my replacement, I was all about it. And that's why I was 100% in and focused on that one business.
I love it. I love it. I came back with the podcast with a whole different, just a whole different perspective and outlook. And it's like, yes, opportunities have come to me since I've relaunched it. I've had a few different intro consulting things. I'm doing it from a place of like passion and like wanting to give back, and not from a place of chasing, my next meal, which is different. And I'm doing this for the long term. Like, I just love business. I love entrepreneurship. I love watching people buy and sell companies. And like, I love being in it. I love scaling it. Like one of my mentors stated on the call a couple of weeks ago that I was a scaling master. And I was like, what? Wow. She's like, Mark, companies don't do, like, people don't do what you've done with Energy Shield. Like, you 3x them the first year and you're about to over 4x them the second year. It's like, it's not heard of.
Yeah,
doubling with 8 less staff member.
Oh wow. I was gonna say doubling every year is a huge feat to accomplish. So doing a 3x and a 4x, dude, that's awesome. Good on you.
Yeah,
so
I
agree.
But I'd like you to go off of what you said before we wrap. Like, I did not want to be the face. I did not want to be the one doing it. So we pulled a third partner in. And what a smart move it has been thus far. And he knows, and I get to set boundaries and say, no, I don't want to be the one out in the streets. I want to fly. I want to go, like, I want to be able to do what I want to do. So Nat Bruno, thank you so much. You'll have an opportunity to check out the Community Solar Authority, and make sure we put it in the show notes so you can check that out if you're interested in looking into the opportunity that they have there for you to minimize your electric bill by joining Community Solar. You can have that opportunity. Nat, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you. Got a lot of love for you, man.
Love you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Cool. I'll just hit stop recording. That's a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. If you're ready to take action, don't wait. Head over to thepurposechasers.com to access notes, resources, and a host of other tools to keep you moving forward. And if you want to supercharge your digital presence, visit scaletosaleconsulting.com to partner up with my team and amplify your impact. Let's turn your purpose into your biggest asset. Until next time, keep chasing, keep creating. Your purpose awaits.